Sure, yeah, so my perspective is coming from a consultant's role. So we work with a lot of members in industry, a lot of drug devices, big companies. And I think, it's very important to maintain an understanding of, what's important to industry when academics might be doing research in the field, to sort of ground the research and know, what does it actually mean and what does it take to take, say, a drug and develop it and push it through clinical trials and prove that it might actually slow disease progression in areas such as ALS. So I think it's very important that when we design clinical trials, speaking from that perspective, that we take patients or participants' information and take them in mind and keep them on our steering committees when we're designing clinical trials. We want to make sure that the experience for them is a good one and that we're capturing important aspects of the disease. So we're not saying this drug works in terms of this aspect of the disease and that's not even important to them whatsoever. So I think it's extremely important to maintain patients in terms of designing the clinical trial and in having them advise the clinical trial design. I would say in terms of clinical trial design, it's platform trials, because I really feel that clinical trial innovation is going to help us find the next therapy and the next one after that, and really help us get to the point where potentially we're completely stopping the progression of the disease. And so we're able to do that very efficiently with platform trials. And I think that's probably one of the biggest breakthroughs in ALS, so that we can do that as quickly as possible. I would say, I don't know that we see a major problem with recruitment. I think as long as you are engaging the patients early on, they're familiar with your clinical trial, they respect your clinical trial, they think that it's a good one. In the platform trial, we've seen really good recruitment. So I think that's actually something that, that's a barrier that the platform trial and speaking with patients early and often has sort of broken through. However, I do see that, in developing these innovative clinical trials, people are unfamiliar with innovation. And so I think a barrier can be sort of getting more people informed on the innovation, things that might be different than what they're used to doing, and comfortable with that innovation and knowing that, it's okay, it's going to give the correct answer at the end, and not just trust us, but to really walk them through the process. We do a lot of what's called clinical trial simulation to show them, simulating the clinical trial before a single patient is enrolled, so that all the partners are really comfortable with how it's going to go. I think we have really great patients in ALS, so I think, they're really willing to dedicate their time to clinical research. So it's sometimes hard to come up with these answers, and I think we have really great networks so that the patients are very well informed, as I said already. So I think we're seeing really good compliance as well in the clinical trials. I think one thing might be, just one barrier might be informing them why it's important that we have this placebo-blind clinical trial. So randomization, why is it important? Why is it important to maintain the blind? So not knowing if someone was on the placebo or knowing they were on the treatment. A lot of times patients might want to try to guess what treatment they're on and go on social media and say what treatment they think they were on, but really explaining why, for scientific integrity, it's important to actually not know that information, even though they might really want to know that information. We try really to just compare all drugs to the placebo, not make any comparison of which drug works best in who. That's not really our goal for the clinical trials we design. It's really the goal is more to understand, is it effective at all over placebo and underneath that standard of care, because in most of these clinical trials the patients are allowed to still take the standard of care in the trial.